What's going on, fellas? This is Sir Studmuffin, leader of Affliction, and today we have a lot better video than the last recap. Today is War Recap number 11, War Win number 10, and we did very well, very quickly though. You can kind of look at the clan. We have one new member, we lost a few. Um, don't know why we lost them. They didn't pan out. I tried four new members. Two of them didn't even attack. One of them was terrible. Um, just happens. And we did very well though, obviously. So as you can see, 44 to 14, pretty much a blowout. I think KK didn't attack with as many. Other than that, though, we did well. So today, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to have 4 or 5 replays, something like that. I've already gone through the replays, as I've told you. Um, and so I know kind of what to look for. And we're going to have a variety of replays. So what we're going to start off with first is Cruel, who 6-starred this war. And he is like the Zapquake master now, which I mean, it's kind of an easy attack, but he's doing well with it. He's been very consistent, and I like to see that. Those 3 stars definitely help. His base 11, hitting base 11, holding his weight. That's important. So basically, what he's doing here is, like I said, a Zapquake. He basically has a Rage Spell now. He has a very good funnel, which is what I like about this. He makes sure to funnel from the corners, but also a little bit past the corners. And you can see kind of that he's basically creating lanes. Now he's also very patient with his loons here. Makes sure to funnel them into the core. And we're just going to kind of multiply this times 2. Now, so an update on the arranged war and kind of what we're doing with that. Brian's clan is kind of going through like a period, so we are probably not going to be arranged warring them this week. Maybe next week, we'll see. And of course, we're taking our break Friday to Sunday because I'm going to have company over, as I've said. So basically, this week it's probably going to be smaller wars. I know there's a lot of people wanting to sit out, and for whatever reason, that's just kind of what they wanted to do. So totally fine. We'll just kind of go on from that. So the next attack we're going to show here is KK's, and let's show, yes, this one. Now I believe KK did this as like an attack after. I want to say Jim 3-starred this first. I think that's right. But we'll go ahead and watch KK. I think Jim did not 6-star either. One of the things that I'm trying now is I'm trying to make sure that if you 6-starred in war, that I show at least one of your replays as kind of like a reward, I guess. Now the other thing is, of course, while this replay is kind of going, let me fast forward through this CC bait. So just CC bait and kill, pretty standard. But one of the things Keller talked about was actually editing out kind of my which was kind of weird, but that's probably not going to happen because it doesn't take up that much time. And I hope you guys are still enjoying this. To go into this quickly, though, basically what he's trying to practice is a surgical hog attack. Now, the thing about his surgical hog is it's a little slow. It is kind of his first time. So you can see his hogs don't necessarily work together. However, the base isn't designed that well, and so he does have plenty of hogs here at the end. But you can see that his heals are a little bit slow. He doesn't necessarily have you want to make sure that the hogs that you have from one group still go to the next instead of kind of breaking the base up into sections totally and just having the hogs hit those sections. That makes sense. You want to make sure that once the hog has cleared a section, that you have enough power so that those hogs are going to the next section. Basically, he like finishes out a section and then he stops from his surgical hog. So that was a decent surgical hog. I know it's his first one. so we won't get on him too much. The next one we're going to show here is a Goho from LM. Now, LM has been very consistent with his Goho as well. I think he's 6-star this war also. He did not check the CC actually, like how much is in the CC. He kind of anticipated that there was going to be 25. Always check the CC. I know that sounds weird, but if there's not 25, then he doesn't need to devote these other 2 hogs to make sure he got the full lure. And that's a little bit weird, but you might as well. Not everyone fills their CC. You know, you might be able to see what kind of CC if you look kind of during the war. And all you have to do is literally scout the CC. So what you can see here is he creates a funnel, and then he drops his golem with wizards behind it, like all of his wizards. Now, what I would probably do is not have all of my wizards, because you're going to see he loses some of his wizards. I'd probably at least save 2 to 3, because you do want to have wizards for cleanup. And the other thing is, usually you want your hogs work in conjunction with your main squad instead of just like right behind it, because he is clearing a path for his main squad. But you can also see, especially at Town Hall 9, when you do Goho, you're trying to make sure that your main squad is useful. His main squad, like, basically all they do is tank for the hogs initially, but they don't get any giant bombs. They don't get to the core or anything like that to where they keep tanking. They just kind of go on the sides and they're like early cleanup. That's okay. I mean, it's a decent attack, but it's not fully efficient. That's not the whole point of the attack. So it's an interesting strategy. It does work very well when there's like a large base that has giant bombs in it, and you need to make sure that you get rid of those giant bombs. But if there's no giant bombs in the core, then there's not necessarily a point to it. But I'm not going to necessarily say anything against him fully because he's doing well with it. So that was attack number 3. These 2 attacks here aren't really worth showing, but I will show one of Rez's Gohos, even though he said it really wasn't that impressive. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Now, they were both cold-blooded Goho. This one's a little higher, and he has kind of an interesting deployment. A little higher, I think, in kind of where the base is on the map, but also in terms of level. So you're going to notice here, when you do a cold-blooded Goho, you usually need to make sure that you bait. Now, with this bait, he has 1 giant and 3 hogs. What you're going to notice in the later part, there is a giant bomb. If you can see my cursor, there's a giant bomb here, 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 and here, which is not well set, but killing that first defense helps with his pathing so that he doesn't necessarily have to worry about that too much. He will lose some hogs to that, but not all of his hogs. And those giant bombs are really badly placed once again. I would have at least thought he would have had giant bombs here, and then maybe giant bombs here and like here. But this was definitely a base for a Goho attack. So you want to make sure that you bait. And then what he does here is he brings his golem to where his bait and the troops that he uses for his bait comes behind his golems. Now the other thing that he does is make sure to time his wall breakers well to where he doesn't have a wall breaker fail. And I am going to make a video on that, even though I actually had a lot of wall breaker fails in my raids. I actually had a 99% 2-star, and that's why we didn't get a perfect war, which kind of sucks. It was a very close raid. It was mainly because of a wall breaker fail, and I hesitated and didn't drop the rest of my wizards, but I won't necessarily show that raid because it wasn't that great of a raid. It should have been straightforward. But anyhow, he has an Asian wall here on the left, and it's basically finished. Now, I would have probably been more patient on this heal because you're going to notice that this heal doesn't really cover a whole lot. This last heal, though, is very well, but you can see kind of how that delayed giant bomb, since his heal wasn't that well placed. Those are giant bomb threats, so you need to make sure that you are ready for those giant bombs. And you probably could have saved a little bit of time and whatnot. That about wraps this replay up. And this is just a simple cold-blooded Goho. But you always want to make sure that you bait on a cold-blooded Goho because you don't have as much tanking. you also want to make sure that that when you kill the CC, that you do that where you're going to be entering, and then you also want to make sure that the wall breakers and stuff are timed well. So I will make a video on Goho and the different like strategies with Goho, or the different forms like Shattered and Stone. But anyhow, this is the next video or the next replay, and I do have a wall breaker fail on this, but this shows you the power of Go Valo. So I think you guys will enjoy this replay just because it's a little bit different. Now, you're going to see the wall breaker fail. The reason the wall breaker fail here is you notice the Wiz Tower was hitting my golems, and I need to make sure to offset my wall breakers. Now, you're going to notice here that my Valks and my King now, as a result, are not going to go where I want them. 4 of my Valks path off, or maybe 5. But I still have enough in the core with the Raged Valks, and I don't even kill the CC right away with that. The poison helps. But just look at how much value I'm getting out of those Valkyries. Now, since the Valkyries went around the base, my plan initially was a little bit off, and this jump is totally useless now. So basically, once the ARD go down, I drop my loons, 2 per archer tower. Now with the Tesla, that means I should add another. And so they will kill this archer tower, but they won't get much more than that. You're going to notice here that there's a Seeking Air Mine on the bottom. And so I'm not going to have as much cleanup, but I do have enough. I dropped 2 on this Tesla to make sure I get that. And mainly to make sure that I take the Wiz Tower at 2 and come behind the Sweeper. And then this replay is just about over. Not the greatest replay though, because I still made mistakes. But this base was so susceptible to Go Valo that I took it out. And my other replay just didn't work very well. So anyhow, to quickly wrap up, I'm not even going to show what they did to ours because they didn't even try. I had a 5-star war that 99%, it was like one more hit on a cannon and I would have had it. But anyhow, it should have been easy. Reza had a 6-star war. Alejandro had a 5-star war, though he hit a Town Hall 8. Mosho struggled a bit. He's a new guy. Arctic had... He keeps having to hit pretty high up, but he did well second attack. It was kind of an easier attack there because there was no queen. 6-star war for LM. 6-star war for Killer Cool. 6-star war for Cruel. 4-star war for Jim. Now, Ali did 6-star, but the reason I did not show his replay is number 1, 13 was a terrible base, and his attack on 10 was okay, but it wasn't like amazing. So I apologize, Ali. Once I see some better attacks, I'll probably show them. But he just used like a raged dragon attack, which wasn't that I guess impressive in my opinion. That sounds harsh, but that's kind of true. But he did have a 6-star war, so shout out to him. Mini Stud here got 4 stars. I just straight looted, and KK of course got 3 stars. So that about wraps this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. We're doing a 10v10 this next war, and we should have this. And this is Sir Studmuffin, Leader of Affliction, and I'm out. Peace.